Howdy, folks. Windy City Dayton Watch. Back here in Chicago. Took care of the thing that I had to this morning. Sorry I had to cut that short. It's just, I think that we're just approaching the end of Natalie's recap. It is 5 to 11. I will be down here for just a bit. I might be able to see Nance. I think Nance is probably not going to come for another hour. We are on State Street, that great street. If you're in the replay crew, please go ahead and give me a comment. If you're here in the live crew, likes are always appreciated, and they hardly cost anything. That couple of calories. 100%. It really is. We had rain this morning. It's always nice after a rain. Hi, Susan. It's always nice after a rain. Kind of cleans the air. You know, Chicago doesn't really get that dirty. It's not a terribly polluted city. There's not a lot of manufacturing here downtown. Most of it's in the edge of the city proper or out in the suburbs. We're big fans of not in my backyard, apparently. Morning, Lavender. So I was on a little bit earlier, right? We did a bit of a recap of what occurred last night, and even as far back as Thursday when the police were called out for the BOM threat and mass pew pew. And if you're just coming over from Natalie, right, in Nora's story, this is not new to the playbook. This is part of the LRH playbook back from, early well, I guess it wouldn't be LRH in 2000, but excellent. You're a plant that flourishes very well. We're down on Polk Street. I am definitely overdressed, but I've been underdressed so many times coming down here, and I can always stuff a jacket in my backpack. We're heading over, so the org's now been open for an hour and a half, right? Yeah, they've been open for an hour and a half. I've been away from there for the last hour, so they may have the shades up. Maybe we get to play the fun game. This morning, we definitely saw very young children in there. That was even before the open, so somewhere between 9 and 9:30. There were already children running around inside and in city clothes, so they're not, I don't know if we've ever seen Sea Org members below the age of 12 at least dressed in uniform. There were a couple of adult civvies in there. I didn't see too many uniforms. Oh, one thing that was interesting last night, I just as before Trashy and SRA left the front of the org for the evening, one of the members came out and Trashy had asked him a question about debt. I don't think there was any response. Trashy followed up, but still no response. It turns out he was on my train going home last night. So he was there before me, so he was not following me by any means. And I did pay pretty good. He was not in the same car as I was. I definitely wouldn't have wanted that. All right. So you're going to the comedy club tonight too, Al? When the sun's out, the people are out here. Now, what I'm interested about is like what the world might the behaviors be that they think would lead them to believe that you're a plant. Um, because the actions are rather easy to see, and I'd be surprised by what actions they're calling out. But nonetheless, I don't know how long I'll be able to stay here. I do have obligations this afternoon, and I do need to get home. I might wait for Nance. I don't know if I've got that much time. But regardless, since I was down here, I just went to a local coffee shop to watch Natalie, and then recharge the phone a little bit. I'm going to drive by, see if we can bring the windshield down. Man on the sidewalk. So the woman in black is Scientology. She just walked into the pizza place. Here's another one walking in. The larger guy is probably security. Can't see from here, but it looks like Blue Star. There was some motion that she made towards the street. Don't know what that motion would have been. So as we look in, hey, what's up?
Right there.
Yeah, I saw him. Yeah, I was here early. They a lot of kids inside. So we've got our friend from Implant here's today, and Implant the apartment, not or Imprint. I'm sorry, Imprint. It's not Implant. Sorry. Somebody did walk in here real quick.
The door is locked.
Yeah. They saw me. I think they saw me coming up, and it's like, well, I don't want to go down the sidewalk, so they walked into the pizza place.
She got paranoid all of a sudden. All of a sudden, I saw you walking up. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw last night, but Trashy got in their garbage can, and he got a lot of papers out of there. So we know now some of the member names of the org, which interesting in identifying who's moving in and moving on. So, but it also helps us do searches like where are they at on Scientology. Always reports on people who have completed courses, so we'll know how far into the courses they are. We'll also be able to do lease checks at this point to see who's on the leases or if any of these names are on the leases. So that should be interesting. That was awesome, Ellie. Seemed pretty quiet last night after we left, but I don't know if they keep people in there all night long or not. In most other orgs, there are people there 24 hours.
Overnight, they shut the whole front end down.
Yeah.
So dark. Sometimes you need to set the floor lit up. Maybe a couple random windows, but the whole side is lit up. Not all of it.
So we're seeing these Scientologists move the garbage can. No idea why. And she is going across the street with a camera. Basically got an SLR.
Garbage is full of crap, so you can garbage all you want.
Yep. Well, this garbage can, that's not a city garbage can, so that's probably a violation. They probably shouldn't be able to have that out there. And if they do have it out there, it's their responsibility to keep it clean, and it's always overflowing. So I'm going to see if I can find a city violation on that as well.
He's got cameras, taking pictures of everyone.
And
take pictures. Take some more pictures.
Oh, just maybe taking the glamour shots of the org. Yeah, they have tried to recruit here. They've also been recruiting in the train stations. They've been recruiting in the colleges. They've been recruiting probably in the apartment. I'm sure that. So she might have just gone in there for her lunch. Interesting briefcase on her back. All right. They do have the blinds down. They do have the door closed. We know that this one is most likely locked. Morning, Snapface. Do have the blinds down. I did get a picture taken on a public sidewalk, which is her First Amendment right. So, and then we've got Blue Star Security here, protecting the people who violate crimes and protect criminals, right? Danny Masterson raped people 20 years ago, and the police and Scientology helped cover that up. Eventually, it leaked out. But I'm sure he's a proud person supporting his family by protecting a cult. It's a right to work state, so he has the right to work. I would say that there are choices you make. That's not a choice I would make. So Little Short Ponytail is a key holder. The person that had the camera is she was able to unlock the door with her key. I would absolutely presume that there will be, they're trying to see if I'm doing anything incorrect. Oops, sorry. Yeah, this one, maybe I did hurt his feelings. I would say that if they keep on hearing the same things, maybe they're going to do some research on the people that they're going to protect. It's really shameful. And I'm going to say that, hey, the church is very good about hiding this. I don't know if anyone was on last night, but really late in the evening, one of the, say, more senior staff members, as they were leaving, the security guard kind of opened the door for her, and they had some parting words, just like anybody would. You're leaving the office. It looked like you were leaving the office, right? That, hey, see you tomorrow. Have a good day. All that fun stuff. And then the first time I asked her a question, we go straight into the straight face. So the security guard feels protective of these people. And by the way, that is that security guard's job. They should feel protective of this. So. If I look up, we're going to see that still all the shades are up on all of these buildings just the same. I'm happy to report that their prime location for realty is having no effect because it's really hard to draw the public in if you've got your blinds drawn. Hopefully people recognize that if they operate in the shadows, it might not be a church. Kind of scrolling back up through the comments. We take look around back real quick. I'll just go to the alley, see if there's anything going on there. I think there's a possibility that there'll be a corn sighting as well today. Howdy. Yeah, and I think that if you actually look up a little bit more information on here, you're going to find out that I'm pretty comfortable that they were disgraced when they left the police department. So they had colorful jackets. Morning, Kathleen. It is a beautiful day here in Chicago. Sunny, no real breeze to speak of. So that's kind of nice. Oh, this is awesome. Do you see the name on the truck? Hey, Declare Dave. PTS Logistics. That's awesome. We need a screen grab of that if anybody can. And thank you, Ellie, for that. And yeah, if anybody does want to support, it's really, it's the same thing that we heard from SRA and Trashy last night. It's the train tickets. Last night I Ubered down here to kind of get here as quickly as possible. When I saw what the firemen had done to SRA, I wanted to make sure we had extra cameras down here. If we look down the alley, there is activity, but that's a moving van, and it's a Saturday. That moving van is all the way down at the residential end. Now the SUV is probably a little bit pissed off because he can't get down. He can't get out there, so he's doing a 3-point turn. It 100% is. We had rain this morning. Might get a little bit more rain this afternoon. Thank you, Jen. I've got a couple of articles that are halfway published. I've got one on purification rundown. Yeah, Michael, we were here earlier. There wasn't one yet. Now, there's going to be two things that we know are going to happen within the month, right? They're either going to go to shredder, because I would say that the information that Trashy got, and I haven't seen all of the information yet. I just know that the one was, who are the people on the world tour? So that kind of tells us, if we can kind of look those up, now we see names and faces. We can see who are these members that we're going to see forever, and who are these members that we're going to see until the next org needs an influx of staff, right? The garbage cans are either going to go to locks, or they're going to invest in shredders. So one of the wealthy Chicagoans, who is a Scientologist as a public, is going to have to pony up some money so that Miscavige's Navy can purchase a paper shredder. Yeah, I can see from here that there still is just an arch on the top of the door. I would say at least there's a 50-50 chance that the guy that got out of the car down there is Scientology. But right, I don't want to be suspicious of everybody in the universe. So this is the garbage can that we found all of the treasures in. No lock yet. Holy cow, 40 people. That's awesome. I appreciate that. This is cool. I love how buildings go up and you've got this thin little crane. And that does basically all the work of getting stuff up and down. And then they pull it down in a heartbeat right after the build is done. The other one that's always fun to watch, I don't know if they do it in other cities, but they definitely do it here in Chicago, is they will weather it in as they go up. So these first 4 floors, while they can't be rented out, they're absolutely weathered in. So you're seeing what the exterior of the building is going to look like. Thanks so much, Dave. I didn't go far enough down that we would have seen the peak of the Sears Tower. Last night, you would have seen what I call the White Castle building. So 311 South Wacker. At the top, it's got this conical ornament that lights up, and it looks like the top of White Castle is when it's lit up. Yeah, I was not chasing. I was recording and reporting and helping concerned citizens that might have been under assault. That I think that the most enjoyable part about that Sea Org member who came out and followed in a very suspicious and scary manner did exactly what they claim we do. However, none of us has ever done that. None of us, I will say that that's not true. I have followed people with flyers, but at a very respectful distance, and I just wait until after they hand off the flyer, and then I go up to the person that picked up the flyer and say, hey, that's a cult, that's the Church of Scientology. They're going to give you a free test, tell you all your flaws, and tell you that the easiest way to fix that is just buy this book. And when you fix that flaw, they'll have you buy the next book. So it looked like somebody was cleaning the sidewalk down by the org. Oh, and if you did catch the Great Escape last night, they did absolutely know Trashy's full name. I'm going to guess they were on the phone with the police when they reported that, and they did say the word steal. So I then very loudly said they took something out of a public trash can. And then when I caught up to him at Harrison, he had asked whoever was on the phone, well, what do you want me to do now? And then he came back to the org and went inside. It's awesome. Sun's out, guns out. Young lady going for a run. It's interesting that this is moving this direction. So now if we look at this garbage can, it's no longer in front of Scientology. It's in front of the college. We probably can request a FOIA would allow us to do that. And I've got several FOIAs in already, but FOIAs take a little while to process. So I'm just going to have a running, it's somewhere between 10 and 12 days to get a response. So I will just always have FOIAs in there to get these responses. So I want a recording of the fire department call last night. And even at that, whether it's a recording or a report of, I don't think that firemen wear body cams. So I don't think that we'd be able to see anything on a body cam when they went inside there. However, the police the night before, I do have a body cam request in for his camera. I think Trashy has a FOIA in for that as well. And now we got Doc Tech. Nice. Many of these things are public records. Now, in some of these situations, when you do a public records request, if you're anonymous, I'll say that they probably drag their feet a little bit. And I also would have a sneaking suspicion that they do share information with the org. Highly illegal, and it would be almost impossible to figure that out unless somebody admitted it. But it would be my expectation that any complaint made in District 1, that information is coming back here. So if you watched Trashy's video last night, he started at the police station, and the officer was definitely stonewalling him, or desk sergeant was definitely stonewalling him, and then also said, hey, I'm being called out there all the time, and they're worried that you're following them. And it's like, well, we actually don't follow them very far. I don't know that anybody's really even followed them more than half a block in these situations. We usually want to ask the question, realize they're not going to answer the question, and then we back off. And I apologize. That's the mannerism of some of us. Some of us are a little bit more forceful and aggressive in that nature, and that's just the way that that there are different colored jelly beans in every basket. Look at that Easter reference. Not really seeing much activity here. What time is it? 11:20. I think I'll wait just a little bit longer, and then Nance should be down here. I know that she's got new SPTV foundation flyers, so I would guess she also has signs with that. So um, that'll be good to have that in the area. What else do we have? What questions do you guys have in the chat? What could I do? What could I be doing better? What would you like to see more of? What would you like to see less of? Excellent. Good news, Nance. So this is an interesting question. We know that the executive director, when they were in Lakeview, was Brianna. And if you've listened to Oh No Nora, Hot Dog, you will know that that Brianna was a younger child than her when they were at, I think, Celebrity Center is where their paths crossed. So Brianna, at the time we were at Lakeview, was the executive director. When they had the fire back, and I'm using terms that I don't, I only know from Aaron. When the executives were fired back, I don't know if somebody then supplants Brianna or not. Now, something that will probably be helpful is there was a cache of documents that was recovered last night. Maybe there's information there. And I've got an email out to Trashy and SRA. We might try and do an interview again this afternoon or tomorrow. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate that. And my hope is I'm down in your neck of the woods soon. I'll let you know. The thing that I like about having the list of names is, again, now we can kind of see faces and understand who are the people that we're always going to see and who are the people that we're just seeing for a short period of time, that are just here as flag staff who are augmenting the staff to make it look big and robust, because we can't have a failing org or a lowly populated org. And the that's one thing. Then to be able to see if they're working for businesses, and while I wouldn't say fair game, there's an element that says, hey, if we understand elements of what's going on in their lives, why can't we help their employers know who they're working with? Yeah. Oh, sorry. I saw the fired back comment, and that's correct. So on that Purif video, what I would do is, if you have an editor, would it be enough that you blur stuff, right? Because as long as it's not identifying, it's not really an issue. Now, another thing I'll say is, right, if you do personally identify, that's an ethical issue, but legally, and by the way, it's a terrible ethical issue. I would absolutely abhor anybody who discloses anybody else's medical information and personally identifies them. But it's not illegal, because it's not your responsibility not to receive the information. It's the protector of the information's responsibility not to let it be seen. So, let's see here. Yeah, I'll check on that. Not sure about that name. Yeah, this was the fired back statement. I saw that. Absolutely. I haven't seen too many this morning. Ah, gotcha. what else do we have? By the way, the watch hours are going up a lot, and I really appreciate that. Uh, we're somewhere around 1,000 right now, so that's always helpful. Um, what I might ask is, hey, while you're watching Nance, especially if you're watching, I'm sorry, while you're watching Natalie, especially if you're at home, if you have an extra tab or two, hey, mute the sound and watch some awesome footage of Chicago. Nice. Now, I'm going to say that you want to kind of see all three. Mine was very minimal. That those two, I jokingly said to Trashy, I can't leave you guys alone for a minute because you get in trouble so quickly. But it was really fun that, we saw the guy go out the back door with the garbage bag over his shoulder. We caught him throwing out the trash, and then Trashy, which I feel just by name he's compelled, did a little bit of investigation. I think this is in response to Monica above earlier. And I don't know if they saw him. They wouldn't have seen him because their garbage can is not directly behind their building. It's a little bit to the south, because you got that construction right behind the building. Their garbage cans are lined up south of that construction property. That it's most likely that they saw either SRA's video or they saw Trashy's video. And I will say that when the Sea Org member came by, he said Trashy's full legal name. So they know who Trashy is. And given that, I'm absolutely positive that they're monitoring his channel. There's every expectation that they're monitoring my channel as well. I'm just not as big as those guys. So again, it feels like an arrogant statement whenever I make that statement. He came by and I kind of chased him down the street for a little. So if you watch their channels, I think, so SRA is watching Trashy as Trashy unfolds the papers and starts reading them. And then when they came by here, the only part that I was really doing was capturing the evidence of a person in a Sea Org uniform attempting to assault, because I assume that when you follow somebody, your intent must be to assault based upon what the police are saying. So I followed this Sea Org member, rounded two corners, walked 2 blocks, crossed the street against the light to follow these innocent people, these victims that it looked like they were in danger. So I wanted to make sure that I was capturing that, and I would be there at the ready in case the Sea Org member was going to assault them. Because the intuition of most of Scientology is that the purpose for walking anywhere near somebody is so that you can assault them later on. So if that's their definition, I want to make sure that. I have not. Now, the one thing I do want to do is, oops, sorry. One thing I do want to do is put a little bit of pressure on Club 21 or Block 21. I can't remember which organization it is that he's showing, to say, hey, your leader is the one that's helping safe point the Chicago police with their. So, okay, I'm sure his instructions were go scare them and make them feel like an authority figure, and maybe they'll be ignorant enough not to know that you have zero authority, and they'll give the papers back. Right? The next thing I'm going to say that the guy was not Beefcake, right? He was a slender fella, right? And with 2 people ahead of him and 1 behind, I'm sure there's no violence, but there was that idea that says he followed them while he made the police call, and I'm going to assume that he was calling the police when he used a full legal name, and used the word stole, or he said stole to the police. That I will assume that he was with on the phone with the police at that point, and he was hoping that the police would say that's a crime, keep following him, and we'll get there. Now, when he got to the corner, and you mentioned that he stopped, right? And he did stop as Trashy and SRA were kind of packing away the papers in their briefcases. I'm sorry, in their backpacks. He was on the phone, and he did ask, "What do you want me to do next?" At which point, I said, "I hope that he's not telling you to assault them." And then he came back to the org, and I followed him back to the org. When I got back to the org, the larger gentleman that lured me away before was on the phone. He might have been on the phone with that Sea Org person, might have been on the phone with somebody totally unrelated, and maybe he was on the phone with the cops. Yeah, I do like that. I think that's very interesting. Right now, I will tell you that if it was inside of a fenced yard, you can't go into that trash can. That trash can is still the property of the owner. But when trash hits the curb, it's public, and the alley is the curb. Right, that's where that trash gets picked up from. The next expectation of anybody touching that trash are the garbage collectors. At which point, you're free to do whatever you want there. So hopefully that helps Hal. Yeah, and that's another one of those. Are the police getting frustrated by this? You're calling me for what? Or are the police in the camp of, hey, good job, keep it up, keep giving us evidence to collect? What else do we have? You might also, if you go visit Trashy's community page right now, so I think that the two top posts on his community page are the police laptop from the call on Thursday the 28th, which involved a BOMB and mass gunman. Mass pew-pew-ing, the verb, at the org. And it was because a Scientologist had unalived his brother or his friend. I don't remember exactly what that was. But then the other statement, or I'm sorry, the other one is that last night the security guard. One second, I want to ask this person something. Hello, do you happen to know who owns this garbage can? Do you know who this garbage can is? This isn't the college, right? So those are the college. Okay, thank you, appreciate it. I'm just wondering, Scientology drug it over here because they know we're going to cite them for street littering. Thank you. Hey, where was I on my story that I wasn't going anywhere with? Oh, the other one was, so the security guard last night, and I saw him the first Wednesday that I was down here, his chest just says police. So we're trying to see, that would be a violation of code to pretend you're the police. Yeah, I agree. I agree with this statement. Now, the one thing I'll say is that, well, he did it too, is not a defense in court. But yeah, the city won't, because the city doesn't pick up the front of the. So one of the reasons that Chicago has alleys is so that they can service buildings, and that's why garbage goes out the back and deliveries come in the front for most buildings. Now, there's some buildings where you'll see a grate in the sidewalk, and what it is, they've got an elevator or a dumbwaiter to bring stuff down to a basement level and bring it in. So I assure you, the city will not pick that up. What I don't have on video anybody from Scientology bringing that garbage can out here, right? So it would be very hard to say it's Scientology's garbage can. And I'm unwilling to move it away from here because then, oh, look, that guy stole our garbage can. Howdy up, Mayo. Yeah. I'll say I've figured that a lot of things are bait, and it's that, you know what, I'm going to keep my distance a little bit. I'm just going to monitor what's going on in this space. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to be curious. There's definitely a cadre of us that we are not aggressive. We are not running up to people. We're not, furtive movements, as police like to say. We're never doing furtive movements. You just saw, right, the custodian from the college came out and emptied that garbage and put a new liner in there, right? And that's because the college, just being a good neighbor, decided to put garbage cans out here. And part of that being a good neighbor is they're then responsible for cleaning up that garbage. Whereas this garbage can is likely placed out here by the, somebody's doing some heavy lifting across the street. This garbage can was most likely placed out here by the Scientologist. It has been overflowing. We haven't seen it be cleaned up. I did email 311 this morning with pictures of that. So we'll see if we can get a citation there. Now, money is not something that hurts them, but it's that nattering effect, right? They want to try the 1,000 paper cuts process. Why don't we try the 1,000 paper cuts process? I do think that we should be filing reports on every violation. That includes, contact with staff members. The other night when Trashy was walking home, he knelt down to ask that female org member a question, and the female org member definitely moved her arm and hit him with the umbrella. She then said, "Oh, sorry, I dropped that," right, to get the audio of, "Oh, oopsie." But I will say that if I run into somebody, intent gives me a higher crime, but without intent, I've still done something that I'm liable for. So. Thank you, Fluffer. I appreciate that. And thank you, Ellie, for your reminders. Want to remind anybody that do not feel obliged to donate. The donations are mostly that I've had a couple of signs printed, and then train fees back and forth are what all of that's going for. So, and I would say this: that while I am targeting to get monetized, I don't know if I can block super chats. I don't want super chats. I don't want to make YouTube wealthy in this process. So I just don't know enough about what that process looks like. Well, I don't know if you can hear that, but somebody is just going nuts in the gym across, and it's pretty cool that so they have the garage door opening, and it's a CrossFit type. They do CrossFit plus more. Yep, absolutely. Let's make sure we're getting over the SP Foundation. And what is? Do you have the change.org handy as well, Ellie? Which is the revocation of the tax status. So when I was in the neighborhood, you'd always see people running out there with the sandbag on their shoulder. They run around the block. They have to come back in and do burpees or push-ups or whatever the case may be. So always interesting to see. So that's interesting. I'm going to guess that you're saying the imprint building. So if you're talking about this large glass building here, right? Yeah, the cult of. I agree. So there was another dissatisfied customer of their new neighbors. So what we heard last night from one of the residents, and again, it's something that we're hearing. It may be gossip. It may be truthful. It may not. That that bottom was supposed to be retail. So the very bottom where it says imprint, move in now, or the white sign with a little bit of graffiti on it, that was supposed to be retail. The claim now is that Scientology is trying to buy that for their birthing, and they'll then do the birthing down there, so they don't have to do it in the high rise above. Right now, they're using studios above, and they're putting anywhere from 6 to 9 people in a studio. The one thing we'll look into is it a mixed use? And even if it is mixed use, it's very unlikely that they allow residential at the ground floor, right? If you look at, so right behind move-in, that this is probably the garage ramp. These first, 4 or 5 floors here, that's all parking garage. So you come in off of the alley. I think that the ramp is at this end. I'm not positive, but I think the ramp is at this end. So right here, I don't think they could do anything retail, but all of this glass front down here, between here and the doorway, that's what the rumor is. Scientology would do the birthing there, and I'll definitely do permit checks to see if they're trying to change the codes on that. So I'm sure that the building code on that right now is retail. The building is most likely mixed use, but the first floor is probably retail. The flags on the building next to it. Oh, so this is first draft, and the one on the left is the Chicago flag, which is the 2 blue stripes with the 4 stars. And then the one on the right is just a White Sox flag. So it's got these, where normally we'd see the stars, the field of stars on the U.S. flag, it's the black and white stripes, and then the Sox in the corner of that. The Chicago flag is fairly interesting, and off the top of my head, I remember 3 of them. And if Michael's in here, I know that we're going to get the 4th one very quickly. But those 4 stars are representative. The first 2 stars are the first 2 World's Fairs that were here. I think that one of the stars is the Chicago fire, that happened in Chicago. I can't remember what the 4th star is, but our wise man in here will most likely give us that information. If you're newer to the channel, one of the other things that I think is interesting here, it isn't in a great position where the Scientologists would be able to see it as they walk to and from work. But on the building across the street is a blank billboard that's able to be lit up, and it's from Orange Barrel Media. I don't think it's prestigious enough place to put a SPTV foundation, and I know Aaron said he would never put that much money into a sign. But whether it's Aftermath or SPTV Foundation, it would be fun, but I don't know anything beyond that. The other one, it'd be neat to see if somebody does if there was a graffiti artist in the area that wanted to thumb somebody in the eye. If I think about, one of the things that we heard William Good talk to Aaron, this might be 2 weeks ago now, that our goal isn't to discredit all of the retail or all of the other neighbors on the street, right? We want to build rapport with the rest of the neighbors. Everybody on the street did take money from Scientology in order to close down on the day of the opening, but I'm going to say that was a futile act, that had they opposed it, it would have been no good to them. They would have had to pay for labor, and nobody would have been able to come to the street. Now, this place right here, Paisans, it's a little bit more suspect. Like, I'm definitely leaning more towards they're in bed with Scientology, that it feels like it's a way to get members in the back door. So people who are too embarrassed, and it's fun to watch. You can tell there are people that squirm when we're out here with cameras. If they're too embarrassed to come in the front door, they'll walk all the way around to the back door, or I'm pretty comfortable they've been walking through Paisans and then out the back door there. Yeah, that there's so many things that those names are good for, right? The idea that you're right, lost families, right? People that don't know who's still alive, or right in that scenario. We'll be able to see names and faces. We'll be able to better understand what this organization will look like in 2 months when these flag people have to go elsewhere. There's just an awful lot of information. Yeah, I'll say that even this neighborhood has an awful lot of residential, even without the colleges. So everything in this neighborhood, if I was to go 2 blocks, well, actually all the way to 12th Street. So Roosevelt is 12th Street. From here to there was factory, and from here to State Street was factory. Nice. They go from Miami. They go up the west coast of Florida to go through Clearwater. I do like. I'm gonna have to remember to go to a clip of that because I just like the idea of being PTS logistics. All right, folks. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Like, subscribe. Don't forget to go over to Trashy V12 BMW, SRA, Severe Reality Adjustment, Nancy Drew, which is NANCEDREW, Chicago Scientology Audits at Shannon H.120. Who else do we have out here? I think that Clearwater, so Clear ING, Clearwater. Definitely give them some love. See if you can spend some time on their videos as well. I like that if you look at these organizations, Pearl Snappy is just crushing Austin, but she's a one-man wrecking crew in regards to what she's doing. I'm really impressed with how our community is growing here in Chicago. That we're seeing more and more people. Hey, Nance. All right, I love both these, right? So corn's coming out, that's great. And then Nance is probably going to be here any minute, so I think that Nance will have company. And definitely get over there. I don't know if Corn Freak has 4 numbers after her name, and I don't remember what those are. So if anybody's got that, because my understanding is that she might go live today. Historically, she's kind of just come out here and chatted with us and been a fun pal to hang around with. But make sure you get over to those channels. Hopefully you're able to see some more Chicago crew here. I think the Trashy and SRA are probably laying low until tomorrow. So we will go from there. Thank you, everybody. I will talk to you soon.